Day 2 of the Aintree Festival, and it's Ladies' Day, so I'm expecting everything to turn to gold. Clue for later. Irish dominance started on Thursday, but we've got some Irish runners on Friday, so fingers crossed. Shame about Lulamba yesterday, giving Nico de Boinville no choice but to activate the ejector seat. But let's hope he makes a quick recovery. On to Friday's card, and as usual, let's get a couple of races out of the way before moving on to the graded stuff. The Debenhams handicap hurdle is going to be fast and furious, as the conditionals and amateurs jockey for position in a big field, but Shermanator has a bit of a winning habit, so will do for me. It seemed to me that Harry Fry's gelding had plenty left in the tank when scoring at Exeter latest, and with Patrick Mullins booked for the ride, lots to like from my view, given that Patrick's clearly got a soft spot for Aintree. Too many to mention that have a chance, but Dan Skelton's Harry Lowe's under Tristan Durrell, who is the leading conditional jockey, has to be respected, and Ollie Murphy's Wandering Ego will like this ground and can make the frame. At bigger odds, the Mighty Cell ain't out of it for each way backers, but I'll take Shermanator for the win. But getting things underway on Friday is the William Hill handicap hurdle, where I reckon there's plenty to like about Indiva Blur for the opener on Friday, so that's going to be my pick. Let's face it, a pretty easy win by 5.5 lengths around here over course and distance on much the same good to soft ground back in December is form I like. And with champion jockey Sean Bowen back up top, my boxes keep being ticked. Nudged up in the weights a bit here, but with Alan King's favour and fortune in the field, this is still a workable mark, and I think he's been laid out for this by Ollie Murphy. Nicky Henderson's grey mare Joyeuse rates a danger if Nico de Boinville can keep her closer to the pace than in the county hurdle at Cheltenham, where she was left too much to do, and last year's winner, Wellington Arch, would be my each-way pick, if that's what you're looking for. So, with Jazzy Matty not without a chance either. Indiva Blur to get unwrapped from his cotton wool and take the opener for me. Only right on Ladies' Day, huh? Friday's nap is Heartwood, going to post in the Melling Chase. I must admit, I have found this quite a hard pick between Henry de Bromhead's Heartwood and Dan Skelton's Grey Dawning. Both had hard races at Cheltenham, Heartwood winning the Ryanair and Grey Dawning finishing a fine 4th in the Gold Cup. But here we are over 2 miles 4 on Aintree's flat track on a decent surface, so it's Heartwood that stands out. You'd have to go back to 2024 at this corresponding meeting to find that last time Grey Dawning ran over this trip in the Manifesto Novices Chase won by Elite Tomp. And even then, that looked a bit sharp. So I'm going to expect a change in tactics for the Skelton brothers with a push from the front to take the sting out of Heartwood. That's me theory anyhow, but I reckon Heartwood's going to get upsides of him anyway. So that's where I'm going. For my next best, I'm going to put a line through No Drama. This ends run in the Turner's Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham and expect him to resume progress here in the Sefton. To be fair to Paul Nicholls, Walk in the Park gelding, being hampered at the start didn't really help, and Harry Cobden rightly pulled him up once, realising he wasn't really at the races. But prior to that, his bloodless victory in the Challow at Newbury showed No Drama, this end is a proper Grade 1 horse, and I'm finding him very easy to back. Dan Skelton's Dalston lad has gotten a bit of a winning habit, so could be right up with the pace from the off, and Jamie Snowdon's Johnny's Jury has headed the markets this week after scoring in the Albert Bartlett. Rightly so, but I can't wait to see No Drama this end up to this trip, and that's my final answer. Earlier on in the Mildmay, I'm hoping for a bit of gold on Ladies' Day. Well, Willie Mullins, Gold Dancer, totally outran his odds of 25-1 in the Jack Richards Chase at Cheltenham, despite carrying top weight, and can go in again. The Trainers' Championship is likely to go to Dan Skelton this year, and well enough deserved in my book that would be. But reigning British champion Willie Mullins ain't going to give it up without a fight, and Gold Dancer is one of his better chances this week. The better the ground, the better he goes. So if the rain stays away on Friday, all the more reason to go for gold. Gary and Josh Moore's Salva is a classy rival, but would really like a bit of cut. But third in the Brown Advisory was a concrete, solid piece of form behind Kit's Ball and Final Demand, so has to be respected. Gold Dancer has to prove stamina for this trip, whereas that's a given for Salva, so a bit of a cracker between these two. But without the rain, surely Gold Dancer can win. In the top Novices Hurdle, I'm taking some Sober Glory. Well, Sober Glory got very close to winning the Supreme Novices at Cheltenham, although you might argue that Old Park Star always had his measure. But after clattering the last, then bouncing off the rail, we'll never know how close it could have been, but Grade 1 redemption lies temptingly on the plate here. This looks a bit of a smaller dish to swallow too, with Alan King's Baron Noir the obvious threat having come from well off the pace to finish a never nearer fourth in the Supreme Novices, which is strong form to bring to the table. Just the 6 for dinner, but I'm tempted to order a side dish of Jamie Snowden's La Conquière as an interesting each-way gamble. Last but not least of our Friday races is the Topham, where I'll be on Prairie Wolf. Seeing that anyone can win over the national fences, I'm going to take a wild shot at Prairie Wolf to come up trumps. Reasons? Well, no doubting current form after wins at Newcastle and Newbury. And I did like the way Jack Tudor gave him a very patient ride last time out. Plus, when he did get in tight to a couple of the fences on the back straight, Prairie Wolf did fiddle his way over without losing too much momentum. That could be crucial, getting over these unique fences, where getting safely to the other side is what matters, and there'll be plenty of time to make his charge after the last. Dan Skelton's Madara won for me in the plate at Cheltenham, and still looks on a fair mark, while Henry de Bromhead's Coming Up Easy is probably a far better chance than his price of 14-1 suggests. That's me 3, but an each-way gamble on Prairie Wolf is as good as they come for the Topham.